Hello and welcome back to another episode of Spread Some Magic 1928. What do you do when it's the middle of summer and you're craving eggnog? Well, you make it, of course. I love eggnog. On occasion, I can find it at Easter time. I have seen Easter nog, but other than that, eggnog is only found, if you're lucky, September to December. Bud's eggnog is one of my favorites, but homemade eggnog is just spectacular. We are going to follow Gordon Ramsay's recipe, and it's probably his British one because everything is measured in weights in like milliliters, not in American measurements. But it is worth the effort, and it's not terribly hard to make. So first things first, we need 700 milliliters of whole milk. Most of your Pyrex measuring has our cups on one side and milliliters on the other. I have our whole milk here, and then we're gonna put it in a large pot. 700 milliliters of milk, whole milk, 2 teaspoons vanilla extract, 1.5 tablespoons of ground ginger, 1.5 teaspoons of ground nutmeg, 1 teaspoon ground cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon ground cloves. I'm going to stir this together, place it over medium heat. Once it barely hits a boil, I'm going to take it off the heat and let it sit for 10 minutes to let these spices infuse. While you bring your milk to a simmer, we move on to the next step. So to a medium-sized bowl, we're going to add 200 grams of castor sugar. Castor sugar is finer than your regular C&H sugar, but not quite as fine as powdered sugar. Sometimes you can find it being called baker's sugar at the store. I typically have to order mine off Amazon. So you're gonna measure out your 200 grams of sugar, and then to this, you are gonna add 5 egg yolks. Once you have your 5 egg yolks into your castor sugar, you're gonna want to beat them with a whisk until light and color. And it does take a little bit of shoulder work. So this is quite noisy. I'm going to finish the milk, let it rest for 10 minutes, beat these till they're white, and in the meantime, measure out 350 milliliters of double cream. The closest we got in the States is heavy whipping cream. So I'm going to do that, finish these 2 things, and be right back. All right, as you can see, our eggs are pale yellow and mixed well with the sugar. So now we need to temper them. Our milk has rested 10 minutes, which has infused the spices, but also brought it down in temperature just a little bit so we don't scramble our eggs. So the first things first is we're just gonna do a small drizzle of the milk into the eggs. And then you're gonna whisk that in. This is bringing the eggs kind of up to the temperature of the milk, so we can continue adding that so they don't scramble, because we wanna make eggnog, not scrambled eggs and not French toast. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna continue to pour the milk while you whisk the eggs, little by little until it's all incorporated. And then you're gonna add it to a clean pot. And then we're gonna cook gently, it says cook gently over medium heat until it just starts to thicken. Again, we don't wanna bring it to a boil because then the eggs could curdle, and we don't want that. We cook until the mixture just starts to thicken. So if you use your spoon, you'll see it can kind of coat and stay on the back of the spoon. Once you hit that point, pull it off the heat, and then you're gonna add 350 milliliters of heavy cream and mix that in there. And then set aside to cool, and once cool, chill until ready to serve. It is quite warm. I am gonna pour it in here. I bought a glass serving jar for my eggnog last holiday season. And just be very, very careful. And there you have it, homemade eggnog. Next, we're gonna take this and we're gonna make an eggnog anglaise. Be right back. So creme anglaise is like a custard dipping sauce. We're gonna make an eggnog one. So I'm gonna take my fresh eggnog here, about a cup's worth. It is still warm, and we make this creme anglaise very similar to how we make eggnog. So I didn't wait till this chilled just because we already got it heated up, so now we're partway there. We're gonna take a 1/4 cup of regular milk. So you want 1 cup of eggnog, a 1/4 cup of milk. We're gonna cook it until hot, but not quite simmering and not quite, what do you call that? Boiling, definitely not boiling. So not even like a simmer. So while I heat this up, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, similar to the eggnog, we're gonna mix egg yolks and sugar together. We need 3 egg yolks to 1/8 of a cup of sugar. And again, I'm gonna use the caster sugar for this one. And you're gonna beat the egg yolks and sugar together until light and fluffy, just like the eggnog. And then I will check on my milk. Be right back. So you can do this in, it'll probably be easier to do it with the mixer because it's not getting quite that light and fluffy. But again, I don't know, all egg yolks are different sizes. So my eggnog mixture is about ready. And then we're gonna temper it again. So pour a little bit in here, mix it all in here and put it back in the pot and then cook it down. This is pretty hot. It says very hot, but not simmering. And I definitely don't want it to simmer. So I went ahead and pulled it. Now I'm gonna temper it with the eggs. Again, pouring slowly so we don't scramble those egg yolks, both in the actual eggnog and now in this bowl. All right, back in the pan she goes. Now it does have you add a little bit of ground nutmeg and or cinnamon if you want, but using the homemade eggnog, I think there's plenty. So I'm gonna take this to the stove, stir for 10 minutes so it gets nice and creamy and thick, and be right back. All right, so that took like 5 minutes, not 10, but you can see it is super thick and it should thicken some more as it cools down. So let me grab a spoon and give it a try, and then I think we're good to go. Oh, it's so super thick. It only took like 5 minutes on the stove. Okay. That's gonna be delicious. It is very hot, like I just took it off the stove, but if you use the homemade eggnog that we made earlier in the video, you don't need to add any more spices. It is totally spice filled and delicious. So this is a dipping sauce for your desserts. We're gonna be putting gingerbread beignets in this, but you can pour it over cheesecake, chocolate brownies, French toast, like instead of syrup, make this. You could stuff your French toast with this. This is delicious. So if you are an eggnog fan, I hope you stick around because both these recipes are easy to make so you can have eggnog year round, because that is definitely one of my favorite things. Anyhow, thanks for stopping by today. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. And spread some magic wherever you are. Until next time.